Well, I've arrived in Sauvant. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's definitely not Sauvignon, anyway, Sauvant. And I recently read a book by Tim Moore when he attempted to cycle the route of the Tour de France. And one of the things that he said, which I'd noticed as well doing this walk, that's quite disconcerting for any Englishman attempting to exert themselves on a huge physical scale, whether it be cycling or walking, is that of course every French town you arrive in always has plenty of either neon signs or otherwise declaring pain. pain, as if we don't know. Of course it's not. You speak a bit of French, it's where you get your bread. But still, it's quite amusing if you're an Englishman to see signs declaring pain in every town you arrive in. Well, what I didn't realise about Sauvant, that's the little town hall there, it's only a small village, is that here there are various routes that cross this region that are collectively known as Les Chemins de la Liberté. And the English translation here says that during the Second World War, 1945, as the Allied armies landed on the Normandy beaches in June 1944, General Eisenhower, Commander-in-Chief of all Allied forces, and General de Gaulle, head of France's provisional government, urged the Forces Françaises de l'Intérieur, the FFI, to rise up and attack the army of occupation, that's the Nazi armies, in order to confuse, contain and delay as long as possible the enemy troop movements towards the main battlefield on the Cherbourg Peninsula. Now this area, particularly the southern part of Poitiers, we're about 40 kilometres southwest of Poitiers here, located near the forest massif of Sauvant, which is just a little bit over to my right. It's crossed by various communication routes, rail and road, which link southwest of France, where several German divisions were located, to Normandy, where of course the invasion was taking place. It goes on to say that this strategic geographical situation led to intense activity of the resistance, and more particularly of the Maquis of the forest of Sauvant. The latter, partly composed of internees from the camp of Rouillé, released in the night between the 11th and 12th of June 1944, harassed the occupying forces without respite, ambush, sabotage, surprise attacks. And in order to help these troops, a group of the British 1st Special Air Service Regiment, the SAS, parachuted into this region between the 6th and the 11th of June. They gathered together south of the Vienne, the river, from a place called Montmorillon, and their action complemented the action of the Maquis and was concentrated on large-scale sabotage, so basically blowing up railway systems, bridges, fuel dumps. Elements of the occupying army, the 80th Corps, actively helped by militiamen, gathered in Limoges and Poitiers. They chased these fighters, so the SAS and the Maquis. They were called the daring fighters of the night. They chased them relentlessly until they were captured and massacred. The resistance, even after all that, wasn't wiped out. A new army was formed, and the 3rd French SAS paratroopers replaced the British 1st SAS on the 7th of August 1944. It goes on to say that the combined action of the SAS and the FFI was particularly effective on the entire southwest. It delayed for more than 10 days the 17th Panzer Division, which was heading from Bordeaux towards the front in Normandy. And in the same way, the 2nd Panzer SS, Das Reich, which left Montauban on the 6th of June 1944, arrived in Alençon on the 18th of June. The men were exhausted and the division decimated. So basically all this activity that was going on in this region was strategically, they were strategically deployed in order to stop reinforcements arriving at the Normandy front after the D-Day landings. So there was a lot of activity going on in the interior of France, which probably wasn't really recognised in the same way, of course, that the